Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where I talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about Call of the Night Season 2, Episode 10. Great episode. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. So we're immediately picking up where Episode 9 ended with the confrontation between Nazuna and Anko, and it's like, oh, I came here to stop you, Senpai, and it's like, oh, I came here to kill vampires. And, you know, obviously for Nazuna, it's like, I just want to talk to you. We don't have to, like, resort to this. But for Anko, it's like, right, she's dedicated the past 10 years of her life for this moment. And so she's not holding back, pulls a gun on Nazuna and, like, shoots her in the eye. Because she says, like, she's done a lot of terrible things. Of, like, she's captured vampires and tortured them because she's trying to figure out the limits of, like, well, how long does it take a vampire to regenerate and heal? Like, can you do enough physical damage to kill a vampire? Seems like that's not the case. Like, the only definitive way to kill them is using their weakness plus sunlight, because the weakness is meant to stun lock them long enough for you to ultimately kill them with sunlight. But any other there is no, like, other necessary means of killing vampires. And so she's been studying that her entire time. But it's like, yes, you guys feel like humans. So even though, like, you might be able to heal from it, it still takes time, and you still feel pain. So, like, even a good, strong kick to the stomach can still, like, incapacitate Nazuna. Not incapacitate her, but just kind of, like, have her, like, gasping for air. Because Nazuna is also approaching this fight because she doesn't want to kill Anko. But it's like, you know, Anko's doing everything she can to poke and prod her. You're like, this is all part of the plan. And even to the point that this all culminates and happens at the same time where we pick up with the conversation between Ko and Nico, and she's like, what do you want to do? And he's like, I want to, like, save the detective, because for his perspective is like, you guys aren't killers. Like, I get it that vampires will have to kill if it's kill or be killed type of situation, but he's like, when I look at you guys, and the reason why I like you guys is you don't want to kill. You're scared to kill. You guys are so much like humans. You might even be more human than us, because humans are very quick to potentially have the potentiality just to kill each other. They can jump to that so quickly, but there's also that fear, like, no one wants to kill another person, and you guys are exactly like that, because it's like, why wait until now? You're only on, like, attacking her now, which Nico's like, well, we tried her detective agency, we couldn't find her, but he's like, those are just excuses. Like, if you wanted to, you could have put a lot forth more effort to track her down, especially considering she's gunning for you guys. But it's like, because you guys don't want to kill her. Like, you guys were mainly on the offense. You guys were on the defense. You're like, let's get rid of our weaknesses so she can't kill us, because that way you are hoping to neutralize her as a threat, because you don't want to kill anyone. And even to the point, Akun is saying, like, right, are we really going about this the right way, Siri? Because it's like, maybe Ko has a point. Because it's like, he's like, I feel like she wasn't really trying to kill me. It seems like she was trying to agitate them, and she was trying to prove a point. And it's like, are we really going about this the right way? And for Ko, he wants to protect both Anko and Nazuna. And he's asking Nico for, he's like, so please, Sensei, help me. She's like, it's unfair when you go pulling the Sensei card. But yeah, like, Nazuna and Anko, back to it, her jumping out of windows. It's like, yo, we're on the third story. She lands in a tree, and she's like, ow, come and get me if you want. And there's a part of Nazuna that's like, wait, why am I acting like this? Why am I being so, like, nonchalant about it? Like, why am I worried? Not nonchalant, that's the wrong word, but, like, why am I acting worried about it? Why am I relieved that she's okay? It's like, no, I have to stop her, especially because she starts running her mouth of, if you don't come after me and try to kill me, I'll kill Ko. You know that she's pushing that button. And I think it even brought that up previously of, Nazuna doesn't have any weaknesses because she was never human to begin with, but I was like, Ko is her weakness present day, because he could be used against her, and and Anko knows that, because she even says, like, she makes a remark about Nazuna about being a vampire, which is like, you guys aren't human. Because she recognizes, like, there's some vampires, there's only so many vampires she would be able to dig up some of their history and use as a weakness against them. But I don't know if she ever found out the truth about Nazuna, that Nazuna was never human, that she's always been a vampire. I don't know if that's ever come up in her, like, because, like, once again, like, how would you know that? But I guess, like, if you find enough records, like, maybe Nazuna's records only go up to a certain point, but like when she just, whatever, like false like paperwork Kabura potentially did for her. I mean, to be fair, she's probably, I don't know, because she does lease that apartment and stuff. So it's like, I don't know like if her paperwork exists, because she's probably not in the, well, she did get a job at the maid cafe, but like Midori probably like, skirted around some of that. Who knows if she was getting paid like off the books or not. So that's why I'm like, we don't know like how much of her identity has been established. But if anyone was going to do it, obviously it would be Kabura, just to kind of give her a little more leeway to kind of, assimilate with society and stuff. But I was like, Anko probably could have like found out like, wait, your history only goes this far back. There was really no history prior to that. But once again, she also knows there's vampires. She never was able to tackle too much of their past, so she might not think much of it. I don't know. She also talks about it too, that she's like, I don't have any special training, because I thought she trained for this before. It's like, no, I'm just really smart. I know how you guys fight. You all fight the exact same way because you always rely on your speed and she's like, as long as I can dodge you, that's irrelevant. So it's like, right, it's not like I'm some super powered person. It's like, no, I'm an ordinary person. I just use my brain. I easily outclass you slow idiot vampires. Once again, doing everything she can poke and prod because she wants them to see nothing but red. But even to the point, Nazuna is like, all right, think. If I don't do stuff, like, right, I'm not weak, right? I can protect Ko. But then she's like, no, like, you would never hurt Ko. Like, you wouldn't do that. But then she makes the point, like, yo, I will. Like, I came into this battle determined. Did you? Like, if you want to stop me, you're going to have to kill me. And she had previously sent a message to Ko, and like, she was, because Nazuna's like, no, I'll stop you before you bring Ko here. And she's like, oh, too late. I told him exactly where we are. So he's going to come here and I'm going to kill him. So you need to kill me before he gets here, because I will kill him. And Ko got the message and he's running. He's like, I got to stop this. If I don't, like, the detective is going to die, which is so interesting considering now, like, she's in a position where, like, she seems like she's on the winning side of this, but for Ko to immediately be like, but now we have more context of what he meant by that later on. I mean, there's only so far a human can go in a fight with a vampire, especially if they're really, really intent on killing her, So, but Nazuna was pushed over and over and over again to the point she thought she got serious, because it's like, if it means protecting Ko, I don't want to kill you, senpai, but I will. So she starts like ripping pieces off of like the swing set, picking up metal bars, like the fits. She's throwing everything at her, hawking them like throwing spears. And Anko's almost like, oh shit, you're actually, oh cool. And she's dodging and running. It's like, because, Anko does such a fantastic job putting on this mask like she's okay. Like those moments where she's like, oh boy, like I think those are real moments, because even she's sweating bullets, but the thing is, her need for revenge is overriding her fear. She is scared. She is a human going up against vampires. Yes, she's won a couple battles, but she knows, like, on one-on-one, I have been lucky because I am smarter than him, but because I had to be, because that was the only way I was ever going to outmatch a vampire. I was never going to beat them in physical strength. So it becomes a situation of I had to find other means of dealing with them in combat. And so she is like scared and running. And that's the interesting thing, because I think she must not have known about the watch, because that hasn't come up since last season. The little signalers, signal things that, and like when things were getting serious, like Nazuna's taking away her weapons and like, I don't want to kill you. But then Ko shows up because he pressed the device, and she was shocked to see that. Well, for one, we also know those devices can only they work in like a certain range. So it's not like he had infinite range to try and find them. Because initially I was like, she was shocked to see him, but it's like, didn't you tell him you were here? But we find out the truth. She left her will and testament to Ko. Because Ko was talking out with Nico, like, I think she's planning on ending the nights. And Ko came to the same conclusion I did the last episode of what her plan was. And so for her, she was leaving her will and testament. Like, you got your whole life ahead of you, that the whole life you will have, like, she's like, I think there's a chance you will never become a vampire. And the question is, how you're going to live your life after that. Like, there's so much more life you're going to live after, because you're only 14 now. There's so much more of your life you're going to lead and live post you not becoming a vampire. There's so much more of your life there. So live it, because she's like, I think because I couldn't become a vampire, I don't think you will either. But like, you have to determine what you're going to do with your life. And it's just kind of like her saying her goodbyes. Like, this will, by the time you're reading this, like, it will be all over. I'll be dead. So she wasn't expecting him to show up. First and foremost, like, how would you even know where we are? And even Ko said, like, I just had to pick a place. I knew, like, well, she might pick a place. And it's like, the perfect place to end this would be where it all began with her and Nazuna at the school. Like, it makes the most sense. So, considering, like, how much Nazuna meant to her and how significant that was outside of her household, like, that was, like, her home away from home. And it was, like, that was, like, her comfort place. That meant so much to her. That was kind of her anchor in life, especially when everything in her family was so tumultuous. But Ko keeps interfering in the fight, especially when she pulls out the gun pretending like she's going to shoot Ko. And then when Nazuna's charging at her, Ko like pushes Anko down, being like, I know what you're up to. And then she like gets on top of him, is about to point the gun at him. And just like, Nazuna is pleading. He's like, please don't kill him. He's my friend. It's like, well, I was your friend, Nazuna. And it's like, I'm sorry, Ko. I couldn't kill. And he's like, don't. She's not planning on killing me. And then he reveals what her whole grand plan was. It was, now, I didn't account for her death as being part of it. Because I retroactively added it afterwards to the recording. But I left the rest of the discussion in. Last episode, I thought she was going to get that guy. The guy she stopped from harassing that young woman last episode. My theory at the time was like, oh, the favor she's asking, he's going to like film some vampire related stuff and then like kind of make it publicized. But I later added a bit to the recording where I was like, most likely it's just she just asked for the costume, which seems more likely that is the case. That is all she wanted. The favor she wanted from him was the costume. But either way, Ko, it's like she's got some proof that vampires are alive, so live and exist. And if she dies, he's like, it's going to open up a whole investigation, because then it's going to be revealed. Oh wait, she's Kyoko. She went missing 10 years ago. Oh, whatever happened to her family, and hopefully get the investigation re-investigated, and then maybe vampires will be discovered. In fact, he's like, she most likely has some evidence that will be released post her death, whether it's a captured vampire, whether it's proof, whatever it is, it will be released post her death. And maybe that's also the favor she asked that guy too. That could also be the thing of like, I want you to release this after I dead, or maybe she had some other contact. It could also be on a system where she's like, if I don't like reset this password every so often, it'll automatically get uploaded to the internet or something like that, right? But Ko like figures her out and kind of reads her and sees through her. It is funny that it like, this, because there's very much a Sherlock and Moriarty like back and forth between Ko and her. But it's like, it's funny enough, she was the Sherlock that became Moriarty, and now in this case, Ko is the new the new Sherlock to Natsuna's Watson. So it's an interesting parallel. It's kind of interesting to think about. Like, I wonder, have there ever been any stories like that where essentially Sherlock Holmes has broken bad? I mean, I'm sure there's so many like interpretations and adaptations of Sherlock Holmes that like I'm sure a version of that exists in some shape or form or some fashion. So, but for Anko, like it all like falls apart. It's like, right, this boy stopped my plan. It's like, right, you got me. He's like, but that's not going to be a permanent solution. And she's like, I know. She's like, I went into this knowing that, but she's like, even if it's just for like a year or something, I was hoping to create a quiet night. I was going to starve out the vampires. Because like, she's like, I've captured and killed like 7 vampires, but there's too many for me to defeat all at once. Like, I'm one person. I can't do this. If I try to go to the police or the public, everyone's just going to think I'm crazy. So I needed a crazy ass plan to like put this forth in front of people that it's undeniable. But even if it's the case, like, the night won't only be quiet for so long before we go back to it. It's like, it's there's no way you're going to completely stop that. Like, remove vampires from their, like, their food source. So, and that's the thing too, because we also know she still has I guess for her, it's like, if I were to die, I'd still get the end result I want. maybe she has extenuating circumstances set up to deal with Kiku in particular, and maybe her evidence has something to do with Kiku. Because, like, that is the vampire she's had the biggest issue with. Because, once again, I believe that's the person who turned her dad, so. And out of any of the vampires that we've met so far, she's the one that's been the most flippant with just turning people and just banning them. Because she's the one with the most offspring. She even says, like, if she was going to meet her end, she'd rather it be by Nazuna's hand. That's also, like, she knew that she could poke and prod her at best, easiest, but also it's like because their history, but it's also because of that history, I wanted you to be the one to put me out of my misery. Because if she doesn't die, like, she has to continue living with the pain of everything that she's had to deal with these past 10 years. She's been drowning in that tragedy and that pain. Like, everything she's been doing is lashing out, and in her need to, like, stop some of the pain, but it was never going to alleviate it. It was never going to make it better. No matter how many vampires she killed, it would never take away her pain. The night would always be a constant reminder, especially with all the people around and just all these people who are food sources for vampires, other people who will repeat the tragedy of what happened to her family. Like, there was never going to be any stopping that necessarily, but, like, just for a while, the quiet, even if she can never enjoy the quiet, but maybe the quiet of death would kind of be the thing that, you know, makes everything okay in the end. But she walks away kind of being like, it's like, what are you going to do now? And it's like, well, she didn't really say, but it's like, would she change strategy? It's like, well, you've exposed my plan, so this is kind of moot. So I guess it's like, well, if I can't get this side of things, like, she probably accepted defeat by being like, well, what I'm going to do is it's for the exact same reasons. I'm still going to get what I want in the end, but also, I also get what I want where I get quiet. You know, I can finally, like, exit this world being like, okay, I did what I needed to do. It wasn't the way I wanted to go, but I had always had this contingency plan on top of everything. Because, you know, when the battle's done and, you know, Nazuna's blaming herself, like, I'm sorry, I couldn't kill her. She's like, the fact is, at the time, I thought she was bringing you here to kill you. And even knowing that aspect of it all, I still couldn't bring myself to kill her. And even Cole's like, no, it's okay. He's like, the fact is, you don't want her to die. In fact, he's like, I don't want her to die either. But then in that moment, he's like, wait, this isn't over. And then we see her with the gun at the table. I was like, oh, she's planning on it. So that's what the whole putting the gun to herself thing, because she's trying to test herself. Like, am I going to be ready to see this through when the time comes? Like, she had to like, sadly get up the nerve to do it. You know, she didn't want that. Like, getting Nazuna to kill her is easier than pulling the trigger herself. You know, there's that self-preservation in her kind of being like, do I really need to do this? But with her plan blown to smithereens, this was the only way to still get what she wanted, which is, once again, exposing vampires and death. So, but it just had to be by her hand. The end result would still kind of be the same. And she's ready to do it. And then Cole comes in and grabs the gun from her. But the gun goes off and he's shot. You're like, fuck me. Now, this is going to complicate things because it's like, well, they're going to have to try and get him to a hospital. I mean, I'm sure Japan probably has the same rules as America does, that gunshot wounds have to be reported if, like, someone, like, if he gets taken to a hospital. They do have a nurse on their side, Kabura, so that is a way to get around that if need be. She could probably steal some supplies from the hospital or whatever, so there is a way around that. Obviously, the easy solution is, well, we just make Ko a vampire, but it's like, are we at that point where, you know, he's in love with Nazuna to make that happen? And with this situation, it's like, is Nazuna ready to kind of go ahead and do that now? Like, you know, how is Anko or, you know, Kyoko going to react? Is she going to be like, we need to find another way because I don't want him turning into a vampire yet. Like, I still want him to have time to make another choice, even though he seems dead set on it. But it's like, the thing is, Nazuna will probably try to drink his blood. But it might be a thing of even she's too scared to do it because she's like, if it doesn't work, we're wasting time. And I can never bring myself to, like, deal with the reality if he doesn't become a vampire, he could potentially die right now and it'll be on me. Like, you know, I didn't live up to my part of the bargain to get him to fall. Like, I'm sure a lot of that. There's just so many different conversations and discussions that could be had. Because this goes back to what Ko brought up too, where it's like, she had no intentions of killing Ko. Because, yes, she's killed vampires and she's hurt vampires. Because in her mind, it's like, her personal vendetta against them, like she doesn't view them as humans. He views them as monsters. So it's like me killing them, I'm killing a monster. I'm not killing a human. Even if they're remembering who they were, that version of themselves is dead. So I'm killing an it versus a person. This is the first time she's probably ever hurt a human. Like, yeah, she's done stuff here and there, like, to mess with Ko. I do think it's ironic and interesting. I'm all over the place, sorry. That it is interesting that her threat last season to take away the night from him is what motivated and gave Ko the idea of what she was actually up to, because he's like, oh, you're just doing that on a larger scale. But anyway, going back to what I was saying, like, she never had any intention of hurting any human. Like, if there was going to be a human she was going to hurt, it was going to be herself. She's like, I'll be the one victim by my hand, but not anyone else. And now it's like, I hurt someone else. I've never hurt a person before. I've hurt vampires, but like, once again, I can justify that. But now it's like, yo, I've done something cruel and hurt a person, especially this young, innocent kid, because she sees so much of herself in Ko as well. That's why she's desperate to save him, because it's like she doesn't want him to be a victim of all of this too. Like, your whole life is in front of you. I want you to live a good life. Unlike me, yes, I never became a vampire, but that also like led me to live the tragic life of being a human who can never become a vampire. And because also like the moment like afterwards, like Nazuno was never like, after a year, like she's forever stopped from becoming a vampire after that. And my life was filled with such tragedy and misery and anger and sadness. I don't want your life. I want you to have a full life and live it. Like, even if you're never to become a vampire, like I never became one either, that you have a full, healthy life, and that's what she wants for Ko. And knowing like I potentially cut that short because of my revenge and everything and his desperation to save me, there's a lot there. Something else that crossed my mind, but like when I was kind of scared, oh, you might not do anything, but what about Kiku? Especially Kiku might know that Anko's coming after her direct. We don't know how involved Kiku's been with these conversations. She has been kind of going her own way and her own, like when it comes to like our vampires meeting up, it's always the others and never her. She's a vampire that's continued being the outside of the group, even though Nazuno's kind of done the same, but she at least has a dynamic and a relationship with the other vampires, but not Kiku. So that's why I'm like, I don't know how much she knew about what Anko was doing, but my concern, and it's still a possibility, we still got 2 more episodes this season, Kiku could show up and kill Anko and still serve the same purpose she wanted, but that's what I'm still scared of, because that is a person she still wants to go after, and it could be like a quote-unquote self-defense thing, but I could definitely see Kiku still killing her by the end of the season. Like I said, 2 episodes for that to still happen, but we'll ultimately have to wait to see where the next episode ends up taking us going forward with all of this. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.